Howdy, I'm Gabby the Clown, and today I'm going to be talking about being bisexual and my experiences with learning that about myself and just finding out that bisexuality exists. Since I won't be around to be able to make videos for the entire month of June, I'm going to be visiting family. I wanted to make my Pride Month video a bit early, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. Is there spoilers for anything in this video? Let me think. Kind of spoilers for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but like, barely. And yeah, as always, my channel is not for kids, so if you're under the age of 18, skedaddle, go away. I don't want you here, thank you. And with all that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So, if I remember correctly, I believe that I first found out about the concept of being bisexual when I was 13? I think I was 13. So it's a bit fuzzy. I don't have the best memory, of stuff that happened a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure. And I don't fully remember what the first thing was, because there was like 3 things at once that all happened like around the same time that introduced me to the concept of bisexuality, and for the life of me, I've never been able to remember which one came first. So I'm just gonna tell you all of them, and these are all of the things that made me aware of the concept of bisexuality. Because I feel like I don't want to say that I've always known that like gay men existed, but like I've known about it for a very long time. And then it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize that women can be gay too. Like, I thought it was just a men thing. Equality, anyway. And then I believe I was 13 when I first found out that bisexuality was a thing. And I think the first thing was I was really into the band Queen. But specifically Freddie Mercury himself. I was really curious about him. So I would like gather everything I could to like learn more facts about him, because sometimes I'll get like really interested in like a specific person or like a historical figure, and I'll just like gather all of the information that I can about them. And my mom got me this magazine. I don't remember what it was called, and I don't have it anymore, which makes me sad, but I got this magazine from my mom, and there was a bit where it talked about how like it's a common misconception that Freddie was gay when he was actually bi, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And it was like, oh yeah, he loved men, but he also was in love with this other lady named Mary. I think her name was Mary. I will bet $2 that it's Mary. Anyway, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but I don't think it really stuck with me. So I just kind of like moved on with my life. And around that same time, I was also really into Sherlock, the BBC show with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, I think is his name. So I was really into that show. I was watching it with my dad, for the first time, and I loved it so much. And at that time, I wasn't allowed to have social media. Like, the rule in our house was no social media until you're 18, which is a good thing, honestly. So what I would do to find, like, memes and stuff is I would just go over to the Google Images tab, in Google, and like Google like insert thing memes, and I realized that like all like the really funny stuff was from something called Tumblr. So I was like, okay, whenever I want to see something, I'll just like Google blank Tumblr posts, and that's what I would do, and I would head on over to the little Google Images tab and just look at Tumblr through that. And the Sherlock fandom was very active, so I was always getting new things, and there was a lot of shipping discourse, and I think this was probably my earliest introduction to shipping discourse, because there were a lot of people saying, like, John and Sherlock are, like, obviously in love, and, like, part of me was like, yeah, I can see that, but also, like, John likes girls, so he can't be with Sherlock because he likes girls. And then I saw somebody mention that word again, bisexual. Maybe John is bisexual, and I was like, what does that mean again? And I was like, oh, it's that word again. Interesting. So then I Googled it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. And then, a little while after this, I got Undertale for Christmas, and I was really enjoying it, and eventually I got to meet Alphys, and, meeting Alphys, you have to do a game show with Mediton, and, like, he'll basically force you to, like, guess who Alphys has a crush on, and the first time around, I picked Asgore, because I wanted to know more about that guy. I was like, who is this mysterious Asgore fellow they keep bringing up? So I picked Asgore, and that was a correct answer. Like, oh yeah, Alphys had a crush on Asgore for a while. But then later on, to get the true ending, you have to get her and Undyne together, like, to go on a date. And I was like, when I realized that, like, Alphys liked Undyne, even though she also liked Asgore, I was, like, soy-facing, like, oh, it's the thing I just learned about, it's the bisexual, it's the thing I just learned about, like, so Alphys was my first canonically bisexual character that I ever saw in anything, which was very cool, and yeah, that's how I discovered bisexuality. I'm pretty sure that's the order of events. It's hard to remember because they all happened at once, like, very close together at around the same time in my life. But yeah, I didn't really think too hard about it. I just kind of cataloged it away in my brain as, like, okay, so I have gay men, there's lesbians, and now there's bisexual people. Okay, cool. So it was just kind of like, I was adding it to my little library of, learning about other people, but I never considered, like, oh, that's not me, that's not, yeah, I don't like girls like that, but there were signs, I just never even, like, thought about them. There was this one time, so I grew up in church, like, I went to church a lot when I was a kid, and there was this one time in Sunday school where me and my little friend group had, like, just eaten, like, a ton of Oreos and marshmallows, like, just, like, a disgusting amount. Like, we were, like, really giggly and, like, just being goofy. And I was, like, little, like, 12-year-old Gabby was, like, lamenting about how she didn't have a boyfriend. And, like, oh, I'll never find love at my tender age of, like, 11 or 12 or how old I was. And one of my friends was like, oh, don't worry, you'll get a boyfriend. And then my other friend chimed in, or a girlfriend. And I was like, haha, yeah, that'd be cool. And then I went home later and I was like, wait, I'm not gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay, but I'm not gay, right? I like boys. And, like, I would just, like, get really obsessed with, like, girl characters. Like, I remember vividly, like, I thought, Sunset Shimmer from Equestria Girls was so pretty, but I never really thought about it very hard. I was just like, oh, she's so pretty, but, like, looking back on it now, I was like, dude, I had a crush on, I had a huge crush on her, I just didn't even, like, register it in my brain, I think the thing that made me, like, start to, like, question, like, wait, do I like girls? Was, at my church, we did, like, a lock-in, like, for the youth group. It was, like, this big sleepover thing, but you didn't sleep. Like, our like, youth group leader had, like, challenged us, like, okay, if you guys can stay awake the whole time, I will get you Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast. And we were all like, hell yeah. So we were all just, like, staying up, like, an entire night, playing video games and, like, doing random stuff. And at one point, we were all playing hide and seek, and I ended up in, like, hiding in a closet with one of my friends, and I just remember being, like, super, like, flustered in a way that I'd only really experienced when I had, like, crushes on boys, and I was like, oh, what's happening? We were just, like, it was, like, a really small closet. We were just, like, pressed together, and I was, like, looking at her face, and I was like, oh my god. Oh my gosh. And then I went home that night, and I was like, I went home, the next day. My dad picked me up, and I was like, oh no. And yeah, I just, like, I started looking back on, like, my entire life, and I was like, oh shit, that bisexual thing is me. Oh, and then, like, and then I was kind of just holding on to it for a bit. This all happened when I was, I think, 15. I was either 14 or 15. So I just kind of held on to it because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Like, I already knew that my parents were really cool because I'm extremely lucky. I have freaking awesome parents. But for some reason I was still very scared to talk to them about this. So I just kind of held on to it for a couple of months. And so me and my family were at the time watching through Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is a freaking awesome show, and I think everybody should watch it at least once. It's really good. But my favorite character in that show was Rosa. I thought she was cool and awesome. And then, like, it was, like, the craziest coincidence of, like, a timeline, dude. Because, like, almost, like, just a month or so after I realized, like, I think I might be bi. I think I like girls. Oh, what do I do? Like, just, like, a month or so after that, we got to the part in the show where Rosa comes out as bisexual, and that was kind of like my, like, I was kind of, like, watching my parents the whole time, because they had already watched the show. They were just showing it to me, because that's, like, that's what we do. So I was just kind of watching them, like, how are you reacting to this? Like, how do you feel about bisexual people? And they didn't act weird about it, like, because they never really acted weird about anything, like, gay or anything before, so I don't really know why I was, like, so anxious about it, but I was. And obviously they were, like, just, like, didn't even care that she was bi. It was just, like, part of the show. So I was like, okay, cool. And I think it was either later that night or the next morning, I went up to my mom, just like a nervous wreck for no reason, because, like, again, I'm extremely lucky in that my parents are very cool. But I was terrified, anyway. And I went up to my mom, like, just like, oh, Mom, I got something to tell you. And she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I think I like girls, I think I might be bi. And she was like, oh yeah, I know. And I was just like, I just kind of, like, froze for a second. I was like, what do you mean you know? Why didn't you tell me? Like, and I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, I didn't know, but, like, I kind of guessed. And I was like, oh, well then. And the same thing happened, when we told my dad, because my dad was at work at the time, and my mom was like, do you want me to tell Dad? And I was like, yeah, because I was still nervous for some reason, even after my mom was just like, yeah, we know, but for some reason I was still nervous, so I was like, yeah, you can tell him, so, she did, and when my dad got home, he just gave me a hug, and I was like, oh, so what do you think about this? And he was like, yeah, that makes sense, and I was like, why didn't anybody tell me? And I think the only person that I wasn't even, like, slightly nervous to tell was my grandma, because she was, like, so, like, vocally, liberal about, like, everything. Like, she, and, like, whenever we would, like, go to her house, sometimes, like, she would, have us, like, watch, like, she would sit down with us and watch, what's that show called? Queer Eye on Netflix. And she was like, I love those guys, they're so cool. I wish more people were like them. So, like, when I sat down to tell my grandma, I was, like, not even, like, slightly nervous. I was just like, hey, Grandma, by the way, I like girls. And she was like, yeah, I know. Once again. Because apparently everyone knew before I did. And it was just really funny. And I was just like, why didn't anybody say anything? Why am I the last one to know? I'm the last one to know everything, gosh. Got kept out of the loop of my own sexuality. And it was just, like, really funny, because, like, everybody I told was like, yeah, I know, like, you didn't know that already? Like, wow. I thought you knew. And it was just really funny. So yeah, that's, the story of my bisexual journey. And yeah, I like girls, I like boys, I like whatever, and yeah. Oh, also, I just kind of decided to add this on, like, at the last minute, because I thought it'd be fun. So here's a list of a bunch of characters that I personally headcanon as bisexual. A lot of these don't really have a reason or an explanation, it's just kind of vibes, I guess. So here we go. Pomni from The Amazing Digital Circus, Kakashi from Naruto, Sunset Shimmer from Equestria Girls, Ash from Sing, any version of Spider-Man, any spider people, Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls, Mira from K-Pop Demon Hunters, Donna from Parks and Rec, Grizz from We Bare Bears, Captain Jack Sparrow, Bandit Healer from Bluey, and Beetlejuice. I don't really know how to end this part. I literally just decided to add it on while editing because I thought it would be fun. But yeah. Yippee! Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe if you would like to. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I will not be able to make videos for all of next month because I'm going to be visiting my family to, you know, for the sake of visiting my family, and also to celebrate my birthday in a couple weeks. Woohoo! I'm going to try to post some shorts, depending on how busy I am with family stuff, but, I might not. I'm gonna try to, though. But there for sure will not be any full-length videos until I get back in July. And then in July, my first video back will be, redesigning characters that you, my lovely audience, have suggested for me to. So that's gonna be very fun, and I hope you will all stick around until then. Also, if you are new and you don't know this, I am currently making a spooky comic. So if you would like to read that, it will be in the description of this video. I would really, really appreciate it. It's my first time making a comic, and I'm really happy with it so far. If all goes well, the next issue will be in September, so we'll look forward to that. And yeah, I hope you have a great night, day, or whatever time it is where you are. Cheers!